next, you can leave it like this. You don't have to do what I'm about to do, but I just want to show you an extra thing that you can do so that, because I'm doing this with gloves. Best not to use gloves when you're working with tape that sticks on them, but I may have. So you can use paper tape, by the way, to do everything on paper mache, because paper is paper. This just happens to be sticky. I want it to be sort of curlicue, so I want you to see that. Okay, so now, I think I may want it to be a little thicker than that. So what you can do if you want to is you can take tissue paper, you can kind of roll it, see what I'm doing? And you can kind of wrap it around this so it's thicker. And the reason you want to do that is you don't want it to be all paper mache, because that's going to take forever to dry. So you can kind of do it like this, and then just wrap it, and you can, by the way, you could use newspaper for this. I just use tissue paper. You could use toilet paper if you didn't have anything else. But, because you know, the stem is going to be thicker, and then as it goes up it's going to be not quite as thick. So you're going to, and of course I can cut this off at any place I want to. And if you need to, you can tape it down if you think you need to. So that's just, and they call this an armature. So you get this idea that it's an armature. Okay, so now I'm going to start taking the paper mache, and I'm going to begin to put the stem on. And I'm going to use these as where I'm going to put the stems out. If you have a gourd, look over here, you can decide how you're going to do that. But see how that's been brought out? Can you see that? I'm going to show you that really well so you can see that. So look, come back and look at what I'm doing. You're going to just start putting this on here, and it's just like you're doing clay. Exactly what it looks like. And by the way, you're not trying to make this really, really smooth and beautiful. No, look how rough this is. Can you see that? None of that has been smoothed out. It's just, that's why I like paper mache, and that's why I'm suggesting you use it, because it comes out all rough, like it's plant material. And that's what you really want it to look like, is plant material. And then just keep doing it. Now you don't have to do a stem like this. You could have left that little stubby stem that you saw, just cover it with the paper mache. It's totally up to you. I like this to be more of a stem, so that's why I'm doing it. And I'm trying something a little different this time. I'm going to try to make it more bendable, because this is an armature, see? So you can do more with it. You can bend it to your wishes and make it more like, you know, like the end of an ivy, the part of the plant that's more. And don't try to smooth it. Don't try to be, if you're just a person who has to always be neat, try really hard not to be neat, because you really want it to be rough, rough, rough. And then of course remember, as you're getting down on the vine, this is going to be, this was the pumpkin, remember? It was on the vine, and then as it gets closer, it's going to get thinner. So you want to thin it down so it's looking realistic. And then I'm using an armature because I want it to be twisted. So I've decided that's how far I want it. Another thing you can use is a coat hanger. That works really well. And this armature is a little bit softer, but you could use a coat hanger and it would probably be a little firmer. You can use all kinds of wire. Don't worry about what you use. Find something. I just called this armature wire, but you do want to make sure though that the actual wire doesn't show through. You want to make sure that that's covered. So that's what I'm doing with that. Hope I like it. If I don't, I'll get rid of it. But so far it's okay. Okay, so now you're going to start working with this. I'm taking off my gloves because now I have to use my hands. And you're going to start to put the vine part that's going to come along here. And remember, if it starts to dry out, just put your hands, see I've got a little bit of water here, and I just add it. So that's what you do if you feel you need a little bit more. Now my tissue paper was showing through, so I want to get rid of that. Okay, so see how I'm starting to put it out? And it's going to be a vine. And you want it to sometimes come apart and be, you know, spread, split. You can use all kinds of little tools to help yourself do that. I'll show you what I'm using a little rasp, so you can use a dowel, or you can actually use clay tools. There's clay tools that you can buy that for modeling. Doesn't matter. You can use a knife. It doesn't really matter if you don't want to buy anything. But notice how I'm starting. But you want these, the thing I want you to remember is keep this part really humpy. Again, look at this one. Look how high up it came. You really want to make sure that that is high, okay? And then it's going to start to become very viney here in a minute. Okay, now here, you can cut a nose if you want a traditional pumpkin nose, but I like them to be three-dimensional. So I'm going to start forming a nose. And your nose is entirely up to you. My nose, usually I do them kind of piggy-like. That's just kind of me. But one thing you want to do is bring that nose down between the eyes. I've tended to make mine a little bit too short. I think they should be longer. That's just a recommendation. You're the artist. You decide. You can see the nose that's on here. It's not quite as piggy. You could make it like a witch and make it very pointed. I think this time I was going to make a witch's humpy nose, maybe with a big kind of a wart on it. I was thinking maybe would be nice. See, there's kind of going to be a wart on that, kind of very humpy nose with a wart on it. So there it is. It's starting to form. So this time, begin to get your nose into some sort of a resemblance of a nose. And remember, this is a caricature. It's not going to be a real nose. You don't have to do realism. You can if you want to, if you're just really, you know. Nobody has to be a great artist here. I've had children do this project. So it's just how you want it to look. I think I'm trying to make this a little more pointy than I've ever done it before. Maybe more of a hook nose. Maybe it's an elephant nose I'm doing. Okay, there's my wart. And then I'm sort of I'm going to poke holes for the nostrils. You want to make sure that you have nostrils. Okay, so that's my nose. Notice I brought it way down. I want to bring it down. Could actually have come a little even further. And then I'm going to take a little bit of this paper mache. Remember I told you there's a little problem here that this didn't quite close. So I'm going to I'm going to repair it. I just stick it together with paper mache. It'll be fine. There. And okay, now we want to start working on this. We're going to bring it down. And now remember, really big, really make this really relief, as we call it. Then you can cut it in two and make it come apart. See, make it be a stem. So now you're bringing it out and you're doing stems with it. So you're going to start making it more like an ivy or more like the plant would be. Of course, as it goes down, it's of course going to get thinner, right? You're going to start thinning it out. Again, you don't want it smooth. You want it very, very, very rough. And okay, you can bifurcate it again. And remember, you can even fold these over in on each other. You could have one of these little things go over on top of another, like if it was really growing, they might go over on top of each other.